So, the provisions in classical Pureland text, there are 6 things in terms of how you get going and how you practice. The first one is to remember it's all in your mind. Okay? This is also Master Empty Cloud from China. Was teaching at a retreat for 10 days many years ago, and he says, anyone here who came to meet the Buddha, who is looking outside of yourself, is going to be really disappointed. Even the Buddha you see outside of yourself is in your mind. So understanding the depth of our mind space. We were talking about the elephant the other day. And the elephant has, at least in a oversimplified statement, has 2 aspects. One is neurological. And when I chose the topic of my dissertation, which was about self-directed neuroplasticity and bhavana, early Buddhist practice and meditation, some of the monks who were in my university and who were also sometimes my students because I taught there, said, why did you choose the brain? I says, well, if you remember, the first foundation of mindfulness is the body. And in the body is a brain. So don't let this neuroscience stuff intimidate you. It's just humanness, and we're just learning a little bit about ourselves. 100 years ago, the way the brain was described is a black box, literally. We knew we had one, but we didn't know what was in it. And so, we started to map out the neurons and the pathways, and we still don't know very much. What a frontier that can help us understand our basic humanness. Because our practice is always with our basic humanness. Why? Because there ain't anything else there except our basic humanness and its possibility. The first step, cultivate the mind of love. The way Rick Hansen says this, who also is a great neuroscientist and a practitioner, who I had a chance to study with a few years ago, and Peggy and I kind of track a lot of these characters who practice and in science, that the first thing in a meditation practice, when I do it now, remember I talked about yesterday prescribed practice or formal, and descriptive practice or informal. And I every morning I do prescribed. And every night I do prescribed. That I figured out worked for me. So some of you know in the morning I do the 5 remembrances. And this is what Ty is teaching at this very moment. And then at night, I do a practice I learned in Tibetan from the Tibetans when I worked and studied with them many years before Thai. I do 108 breaths. I count, and then I count backwards. And usually by the time I'm almost back to 1, coming backwards, I'm asleep. So I book in my day with prescribed practices that help train me, help discipline my mind, so that in the day, when I'm with the Department of Seattle or with the theater group and company I work with on Vashon Island, artists and gymnasts and aerialists, that's all like fun for me. No difficulty. Still practicing. I was sitting in, getting ready for a meeting at this theater place the other day. They have some new staff and want to like reform the group and get new values stated, new norms for the office and all that for customers. So I just came a few minutes early and sat down in the office. Just like, we're sitting here. And people started coming in. And in about 3 minutes, somebody said, "Boy, is it still in here. It's so quiet in here. This is great." So our practice is not just about words. It's about energy. In fact, it's more about energy than anything else. Our words only point to the energy that we are practicing with, that we are cultivating, and that we are transmitting, and that we are receiving at the same time. But invite love in the beginning of your meditation practice. Or like with the gratitude practice, that's another way you can do it. But when you sit down or you're going to stand or whatever kind of practice you're going to do, engage your heart in that energy before you begin the formality. That's why I carry my pen. I can just pull up my mother, right? Picture of her. The practice already has gone deeper. You see what I'm saying? So invite love in. Make sure you can feel that energy of gratitude, of love, of kindness that you've experienced in your life. No matter what's going on in the moment, invite that in. And sometimes it's our dog, Charlie. I invite Charlie. Charlie always works. Yeah, Charlie has no problems. If he does, he doesn't talk about it. Like the rest of us. And when we sit, he comes and sits. Or when it seems like we're a little edgy, we lay down on the couch. In less than 2 minutes, Charlie comes and lays on us. So one of our dear Sangha sisters said, "It's too bad we can't do that for each other. It helps so much. Just to lean, just to lay your head. I mean, just holding each other. We have given up on these things. And we have suffered deeply for it. We need to understand what we lost by what we think we gained in becoming modern. Have faith in your own practice. Faith in Buddhism means, oh, I tried that. It worked. Or I tried that and it didn't work for me. Faith is experiential in Buddhism. It is not some abstraction. It is not faith in something other than what is real in this moment of your precious life. It's not an ideology. It is faith born from practice. And what I've discovered is the more I practice, the stronger my faith in the practice itself. Resolve. These are the provisions of the Pureland. Understanding the Pureland practice as spiritual exercises, not as intellectual concepts. Resolve. This is embodying our vows. It was great that some of you were willing to share briefly your sense of vow from your ordination yesterday. Stay close to that. So if you, a long time ago, I figured out what my vow was. And my vow is to care for people who care. Very simple. And this vow came up inside of me during my Christian ordination many, many years ago. I was in the prostration, the Roman Catholic, the Baptist guy, the Methodist bishop, all these guys were there doing all this stuff. And it occurred to me in that very moment The purpose of my life is to care for people who care for the world. So, figure out your vow and write it down for yourself. And then, in Pureland form, get some image, some picture, some sound, some song that reminds you of that vow. Get that vow into the heart of your elephant. Indeed, down into your store consciousness, because